Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Hirak. Today is September 22nd. And yeah, did you know that today is Dear Diary Day? Yes, we have a Dear Diary Day. And that's today, September 22nd, 2020. It's celebrated every year. Did you know that? Yeah. Um, yeah, it's nice to keep a diary because you can look back and see what happened in your life. Some people like to take a video diary. Some people like to take a photo diary. Some people like to keep a written diary. Doodle diary. In different forms. But the traditional diary is, dear diary. You write something every day about what happened. It's a way to keep a personal history. You can share it with your children and grandchildren in the future. It's nice to look back, on what has happened in your life, how much you've improved, right? Um, yeah. Since we're talking about diary, I thought I'll share some of my photos from Jordan. Those are my fellow Raoul Wallenberg scholars from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. There was a national competition um, for Raoul Wallenberg scholars, 10 of them. So they were chosen by basically, American Friends of Hebrew University, which has its office in New York, um, and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in Israel, and Medinat Israel, the state of Israel. So 10 people were chosen out of many, many, many people who applied. And, if you're Jewish, you can imagine every single Hillel House, Jewish Students Association advertised this throughout all 50 states and US territories. You can imagine the level of competition. Um, yeah, I applied, obviously. I'm an expert of Jewish study, and I said, this is a great opportunity. The full name of the fellowship is Raoul Wallenberg Scholar for Human Rights and Democracy. So it was created to mirror Rhodes Scholarship at Oxford University. So this was designed to be like the Israeli version. Um, and we have some very, very illustrious and brilliant people who were in my cohort. I may use a term, 10 of us. So in the photo, you see John Bartlett. He was the editor in chief of Brown Daily Herald, and he took 1 year off to do this at Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And then he went to Harvard Law School. He's a partner in a law firm in New Jersey, and he's right now a freeholder for Passaic County. And he ran for U.S. Congress as a Democrat in the Democratic primaries in 2018. So he wants to be the president of the United States of America someday. Um, yeah, he ended up marrying my friend Kiati Joshi, who's from Smyrna, Georgia, where my best friend's wedding star uh, is from. I don't know if you have seen the movie My Best Friend's Wedding, but if you haven't, you should. And she's also the star of The Runaway Bride, which is also a kind of entertaining movie. And obviously, she has probably staked her fame through Pretty Woman. Um, she also starred in Erin Brockovich. And so she's Julia Roberts, with her distinctive laugh. Um, yeah, so I went to John Bartlett and Kiati Joshi's wedding in Smyrna, Georgia. It's the first time I, I went to Smyrna. And yeah, it was kind of nice, being there for the wedding. Um, John's a great guy. I really liked him in Israel. I like him now too, obviously. Um, yeah, I mean, we may end up in U.S. Congress, because I guess he's serious about becoming president someday. So if I win and become a U.S. Congressman this time in November 3rd, if you vote me in, it's up to you guys, right? In Virginia's 8th District, Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. If you vote me in, you gotta write my name into the ballot right now because I filed a lawsuit against Virginia Governor Northam and Virginia Department of Elections to put my name on the ballot. I filed this lawsuit on June 3rd, but because of COVID-19, it's like taking forever. So yeah, I'm sure my name will be on the ballot by November 3rd. But there's early voting and early absentee ballot. So just write my name in, Hirak Christian Kim. Make sure you spell my first name, middle name, family name. Spell it, correctly. Uh, yeah, just write my name in. It's not that hard. Just write my name in for Virginia's 8th District. I'm running against Don Beyer, obviously, who's a Democrat. Um, and he's been there for ages, but he hasn't really done much. And I figure it's time for him to pass the baton over to me so I could do some good things for Virginia's 8th District. I live in Arlington. It's part of Virginia's 8th District, obviously. Yeah, vote for me. I will elevate this area to the heights that you never thought was possible. Anyway, yeah, John Bartlett, he wants to be president. So I think he's starting out as running for, well, he's already a freeholder. I guess it's like a position. I don't know too much about freeholders, but I guess it's a thing in New Jersey. Um, yeah, I mean, apparently it's supposed to be pretty high, in New Jersey. Yeah, so Kiati is teaching at a university in Bergen County. Um, she's an expert of religion. She did her PhD in comparative religion at Boston University. She did her bachelor's in religion at Emory University. She wasn't part of the Raoul Wallenberg Scholars, but she spent 1 year kind of studying Judaism and different religions in Israel. One of my good friends, David Satran, is professor of comparative religion at Hebrew University. And he had a visiting professorship at Princeton University, I believe at University of Pennsylvania and also Harvard University. So, he's considered one of the leading experts in comparative religion, especially in Israel. I think he's like top guy. But he was, fairly, up and coming when I went there. Um, Professor Michael Stone was like the institution in the religion department. Um, He's a big known name. His expertise is Armenian, 12 patriarchs, text in Armenian. Um, yeah, Armenia is the first Christian nation. My best friend at UCLA, Michael Matosian, is Armenian. And he's the first one who came to UCLA Student for Christ that I started when I was at UCLA. It grew to be like over 100 in 3 years. Yeah, like produced like 10 clergymen. And Michael Matosian is a clergyman as well in the Orthodox Presbyterian Church. I kind of shepherded him. He was going to become a billionaire. Like the Kardashians, they're Armenians as well. But I guided him toward pastoral ministry. His father is a important leader, Joe Matosian, Reverend Joe Matosian, very important leader among the Armenians. Everybody knows him in Pasadena and Glendale. Big shot, Armenian Christian leader. He's an evangelical um, pastor, very conservative, trained in the Nazarene tradition. So he kind of practices within that kind of evangelicalism. And he's pastor of the church Brotherhood Church, Armenian Brotherhood. Brotherhood sounds like mafia. It's not. It's just Christian church, Protestant denomination, kind of like Nazarenes. And Michael would joke around. Michael Motosian, he would joke around and say, one phone call, takes care of it all. Armenians are very, very family oriented, and they're very good about kind of maintaining extended family connections. So, like everybody knows everybody in Glendale, Pasadena, who's Armenian, which is kind of funny. So Michael Motosian became a minister, um, and and ironically, his younger brother, Jason Motosian, he he went to UCLA for undergraduate, got accepted to UCLA Law School, did like 1 year of law school, and then he's like, I want to be a minister. So he went to Talbot Seminary and he became a minister. So there are two clergymen came out of Reverend Matosian, Joe Matosian's family. And so, Jason Matosian, it's like my little brother, Um, so, Reverend Jason Matosian, I went to his wedding. He married a nice gal. She's really pretty and nice. And he's been a pastor at Ararat Bible Church, which is like an Armenian church I guess it's in what, Northridge, or is it North Hollywood? But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, very deep and strong Armenian roots. Um, I wonder, I had a professor in clinicals who's like an important professor, no, important nurse at um, important nurse at Sibley Hospital, and she was one of my clinical instructors. Anissa Nehebidian, that's an Armenian name. I should ask her. She knows Reverend Joe Nikosian because the Armenian Brotherhood is connected throughout the world. It's not just in Pasadena and Glendale. There is an Armenian Brotherhood church like wherever Armenians are. So I know Michael was telling me there's an Armenian Brotherhood church in New Jersey. There's like an Armenian Brotherhood church in this area, maybe more than one. There's like Armenian Brotherhood Church, like wherever Armenians are. And Armenians, there are a lot of Armenians every major city, like Boston, Philadelphia, New York, Washington, D.C., Chicago, so, wherever there are a lot of Armenians, everybody knows Reverend Joe Mukosia, and that he actually moved into the largest Protestant Armenian church in America. So Brotherhood is the more fundamentalist, conservative denomination, but he got hired to be like a major leader in the biggest Protestant denomination for Armenians in America. And so he's known among the Armenian Brotherhood. Obviously, he's pastor of the Brotherhood Church in Pasadena for many, many years, many decades. And now that he's been a leader in the main Armenian Protestant, the biggest one, Armenian Protestant one. Uh, um, they know now that circle knows him very well as well. So yeah, so I'm sure there are brotherhood churches in this area, and also obviously the biggest Protestant church. There's probably quite a number here. So I don't know, maybe Professor Nisa Nehebidian goes to one of these churches. I don't know. It's an Armenian name. I don't know if she's Armenian or not. I didn't ask her, but she could be. you know. Um, but yeah, so if she is Armenian, she could have married a guy who's Armenian, right? Uh, and she may not be Armenian, but if she is Armenian, or if she goes to an Armenian church, or she has connections with Armenian churches, then yeah, I'm sure she knows the Matosians. They're very famous. Now Joe, Michael Matosio is like a important pastor in the Orthodox Presbyterian Church. He was a senior pastor of the biggest Orthodox Presbyterian church in Delaware for a while, and so yeah, he has his PhD from the I guess it's this Jesuit University in Wisconsin. What's that university called? I have several friends who did their PhDs in the theology department there, who are like Protestants. But yeah, so he, Yeah. So the elation, there's no elation like, you know, knowing Jesus and, having a personal relationship with Jesus. I'm sure Michael Matosian would would also agree that's the greatest elation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Michael. He's a West Coast boy, but now he's in the East Coast. His wife is pretty. She's she's actually with Kaiser Permanente. She's like what do you call that? Occupational therapist. She went to Cal State Northridge. Um, I guess it was a 6-year program. And then, she married Michael Potosi, and I was the best man at the wedding. And yeah, I mean, I told you, Michael Potosi is my best friend from UCLA. So, yeah, obviously he's going to ask his best friend to be his best man. Yeah. So, yeah, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I get around. I told you, I'm like the kingmaker. What did I tell you? Everything I touch turns into gold. Everybody I disciple become like major leader. I'm not joking. I mean, geez, Michael was gonna go and become a billionaire. He's doing something much more important now. A major leader for the Christian church in America. I mean, billionaires bow down to him. Not bow down, but they get pastored by him. He's like spiritual guru. you know, so he's a leader of all these billionaires. Who need counsel from him. But yeah, so I mean, he wasn't going to go to pastoral ministry at all. He was majoring in history as an undergraduate at UCLA and economics. He was set to become a billionaire. It was like headed toward that direction. I'm sure he would have become a billionaire had he not become a clergyman. But I have a way of producing leaders for the Christian church. What can I say? So Michael's like a major leader in the Orthodox Presbyterian Church. Um, he has his PhD from Marquette University, Wisconsin, in theology, and he's brilliant. He got his bachelor's in history and economics from UCLA, and then he went to University of Edinburgh, got his master's of theology. No, he first went to Westminster Theological Seminary in Philadelphia, because that's where I told him to go. I mean, his dad wanted him to go to like a Nazarene seminary, But I'm like, hey, I'm Presbyterian, and obviously, I brought him to the Calvinist side. He was like a Armenian, not a, he was an Armenian. So Armenian is a theology. Um, yeah, I can't really get into too much right now about that. But yeah, Armenianism is a theology that existed kind of oppositional to Calvinism. So Nazarenes are Armenians. A lot of the fundamentalists tend to be Armenians. There are Calvinist fundamentalists, um, but there's a 5 points of Calvinism, 5 points of Armenianism that kind of conflicts. So Michael Matosian was an Armenian because he was trained by his father in the Brotherhood Church, which was following the Nazarene tradition. But everybody I touch, they become Calvinists. What can I say? I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. I'm very, very good at training people to be leaders in the world. But obviously, I bring them to my position first before I train them as leaders. I mean, come on. I'm spending time training them for no pay, really. I'm discipling them like Jesus discipling St. Peter. I mean, the least that they could do is come to my position, which, basically 100% of them do. Because, I'm very convincing. What can I say? I mean, so, yeah, so, yeah, so, I mean, I have enough treasure stored in heaven. So Armenian is one of the fruits that I bore. I mean, Michael Matosian. And yeah, I mean, Jason was going to become a lawyer and maybe become a billionaire too. He was at UCLA Law School. He probably was on his road, but you know, what can I say? Everything I touch, turns into gold for the kingdom of Christ, So, yeah, so, yeah, so what can I do? What can I do? I have produced so many leaders from the Christian church for the Christian church. It's not even funny. The president of Westminster Theological Seminary in California, Joe Kim. You know, yeah, I, I, I kind of discipled him with John Calvin's Institute. He was president when I was teaching the Bible. When I was a leader of Student for Christ. Yeah, you know, um, yeah. What can I say? Um, he was a history major to Joe Kim. He graduated 3 years from UCLA. I told him that I graduated from University of Pennsylvania in 3 years, 1 year early. So, he's following after my step, footsteps, I guess. Yeah, But anyway, yeah, going back to Professor, Anissa Nechadidian. I mean, she goes to Armenian church, like Reverend Motosians. There's three of them. They're like your spiritual leader, Yeah, so, and not just, Professor Anissa Nechadidian, every single Armenian in this area, politicians, billionaires, you name it, FBI agents, CIA agents, if they go to Armenian church, they get spiritual counsel from them. And obviously, I impacted Reverend Joe Motosian as well. But I'd say life is about who you come in contact with, and I'm dominant. Whoever I come in contact with, they get impacted by me. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, what can I say? I mean, I want to be humble about it, but I also have to be truthful. Yeah, I'm very dominant. So at Georgetown University graduate student government, we had like bonding session, and we had these like quizzes we took, um, and like personality quizzes, and I was 100%. What is it? Assertive. 100%. What do you call that? Dominant. I forgot the title. So it's like dominant or assertive. I was 100%. And like everybody was shocked because they're like because I'm a nice guy and everything. They didn't think like I would be like 100% assertive or 100% dominant. But I am. Wherever I go, I dominate. So what can I say? I mean, people follow me, and people who want to be trained by me, they become like major leaders. I leave a trail of like major leaders in every city that I've been to. I kid you not. You could like go to every city that I went to, and you will see people who have been trained by me who become great leaders. Yeah. What can I say? I'm not gonna lie about it. I mean, being falsely humble and telling you that this is not true would be a lie. I mean, why should I lie, right? I mean, um, yeah. So, hey, what can I say? I am the Leonardo da Vinci. Some call me the chosen one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't call myself the chosen one, but some people call me the chosen one. What can I say? you know. Um, yeah, but anyway, yeah. So going back to John Bartlett, yeah, he wants to be the president. I mean, he's really smart. He's a smart guy. So I'm sure he is far smarter than Joe Biden. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Tim and Joe. But yeah, and the next to him is Corey Velt. He graduated from Stanford University. Took 1 year. He took the scholarship, and then he went to Stanford. The MIT, finished his PhD in Russian politics. Became an associate director of Russian studies at Georgetown, and then became director of Russian studies at George Washington University. And then next to that is Oh my gosh, I can't believe. Oh no, no, I'm like forgetting names now. Well, next to her is Amos. Amos was the Israeli scholar. There were two Israelis who were chosen for Wallenberg. Next to that is Leah. Odina Schulzen. So next to Corey Veld is Odina Schulzen. So she went to Barnard College. She's from Orange, New Jersey. She went to, but while she was at Orange, New Jersey, she went to Ramaz. It's a Modern Orthodox Jewish school in New York that produces a lot of leaders like Adam Zubin in the Treasury Department. Went to Ramaz and then Harvard for bachelor's, Harvard for JD. Yeah, I met a lot of his buddies who are playing very important leadership roles in like different areas. Yeah, but Adina Schulze, she's really nice. She did her PhD at NYU in Jewish studies. So I'm sure she knows the director of Jewish studies at Georgetown who did his PhD at NYU. The world is very small, people. Everything is connected. Yeah. Especially at the top, everybody, everything is connected. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so we were in Jordan enjoying ourselves. And yeah, I mean, Jordan's a great place. If COVID ever goes away and you could ever travel, you should visit Jordan. Um, yeah, I'm there just like taking photo on my own. I guess I should have said, Hillary, come in for the photo. Heather, come in for the photo. I look like a little doofus kind of standing there by myself taking a photo with Heather and Hillary just nearby. I don't know what possessed me to just take my photo by myself. I should have just said, hey, Hillary, come over here. And Heather, come over here. We could have had like a trio photo, and Hillary's beautiful. You see her photo next to Corey Veld on his birthday cake. We celebrated his birthday in Jordan, and Hillary Coyne married and is now Hillary Coyne Brill. Is an adjunct professor at Georgetown Law School. She went to Harvard, represented Harvard at in Israel, came back for Georgetown Law Center or law school at Georgetown, got her law degree, founded she did a lot, yeah, you could just go to Georgetown University Law School website, see all the things that she did, just go to the faculty page and type her name in. Hillary Coyne Brill, and she's really smart, she's really pretty. She probably was the prettiest American woman at that time there because I knew all the pretty ones. Wherever I go, I appreciate God's beauty. I try to make a point of meeting all the pretty people, pretty women. you know, so yeah, but I think I would say she's probably the most. She was probably the most beautiful American, woman like from America um, at Hebrew University at that time when she was there. But she's pretty. Look at her. She's pretty, very physically fit. She ran every day. I mean, she was like no fat on her body, like lean, mean, muscle, like just all woman. She's like smart, pretty, physically fit. I mean, she's like Mr. Brew is like so lucky. You should thank God, every day for being married to Hillary. Um, but yeah, and then next to that is Adina Schulzen and Corey Veld. They're belly dancing together. Yeah, I actually thought, I thought they were a cute couple. I was like hoping they would get married. But both of them are happily married. And Dina was sharing photos of her children with me a while back, and she's very happily married. So I'm happy like both of them are happily married. But yeah, I mean, I thought they were gonna get married though. But yeah, life is funny that way. Sometimes it's like LA Story is La La Land. It's kind of like that sometimes, right? Um, sometimes when I was watching the movie La La Land, I was thinking like that's kind of like Dina Schulzen and Corey Vell. I was thinking, but I don't know, I guess it's not, you have those combinations everywhere. But they're both happily married, so all's well that ends well. Yeah, but as I said, COVID-19 is going to have a spike from September to December. Yeah, we see we have like 900 people dead. Precisely 892 people have died in 24 hours. So we have broken the 200,000 barrier. Yes. Now we are at 200,710 people have died in America. That's 1/5 of a million people. And the cases went up almost 60,000 in 24 hours. You should worry. You should really, really worry, because technically it's not flu season, although flu could be going around now. Make sure you get your flu shot. I mean, geez, can you imagine what's coming in the flu season? We could have like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 getting infected with COVID in 24 hours. And death rate is not going to be so low, like 3% during flu season. We're looking at like 6% death rate, 10% death rate, 15% death rate. It's going to vary from state to state, but some states will fare better, other states will not. But yeah, it's going to be horrific flu season. As you know, I'm Hira Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, and I'm predicting that a minimum 3 million will die in the flu season. It only takes 60,000 people to die in each state for 3 million Americans to die in flu season. I think that's a low figure. I think it'll be much higher than that. I'm predicting that we will have around 20 million or more die in the flu season. Because think about it, 60,000, that's nothing. 30,000 died in New York in 1 month, like month of April. That's 1 month of flu season. Now we had the summer where 1,000 were dying per day, and we have 6 months of flu season we're heading into, and COVID-19 is everywhere in every state. Every major city, even like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, could have 30,000 deaths. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. If Milwaukee, Wisconsin could have 30,000 deaths in the flu season, how many do you think will die in New York or Chicago or Philadelphia or Washington, D.C.? Well, Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C. You have the tri-state area going, big metropolis, extended greater Washington, D.C. Can you imagine? And you think only 60,000 are going to die in the New York State? Are you kidding me? I'm here at Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. I'm predicting minimum 1 million will die in New York State. We're talking about 6 months. 6 months of hell, 6 months of COVID-19, 6 months of hell you're looking at. You think only 60,000 are going to die in New York in 6 months? When 30,000 died towards the tail end of flu season, like in April, we are going to have a crescendo. Crescendo. I mean, you could have like 10,000 die in New York every day during crescendo. Yeah, it's going to be horrific in New York. If you are in the city, get out when you can. Sell your whatever. Buy a house in the countryside. More remote, the better. Because it's a people-to-people transmission death, right? I mean, make sure you buy a house close to a hospital, nearby hospital though. But yeah, if you have money, man, I mean, you need to survive. Get negative pressure room for every room. That will help you survive. I mean, increase your possibility of survival. Negative pressure rooms, private negative pressure rooms in your house. Yeah, I mean, I'll be shocked if less than 3 million die in flu season. I'll be shocked. I think most healthcare experts are beginning to see that I'm right, even before flu season starts, like Dr. Fauci. of infectious diseases expert, Dr. Han of federal FDA, Dr. Redfield of Center for Disease Control, Admiral Gurr of Homeland Security, Sanjay Gupta, Dr. Sanjay Gupta of CNN. He's from Atlanta area. Maybe he knows the Guptas. No, he is a Gupta. I mean, there is actually a Gupta. You know, I met a Gupta at the wedding of Khyati Joshi. One of Khyati Joshi's father's close friend is a Dr. Gupta in Smyrna. Yeah, maybe he's related. Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so, and Dr. Gottlieb, a former FDA head, I'm sure they're all beginning to see my way that we're going to have minimum 3 million deaths because they're scientists. They can't ignore the evidence. Yeah, I mean, you cannot ignore the evidence. Right now, we're not, I mean, some would say we're at the beginning of a flu season. But look, we have 60,000 cases per day. At the height of flu season, it's going to be far worse than now. You think it's going to be the same? It's going to be like same? No, there's no healthcare expert in America, in Virginia, in DC, in Maryland, who thinks that it's going to be like this during the height of the flu season. Oh yeah, I actually applied for the Federal Credit Union National Endowment for Humanity. I mean, not National Endowment for Humanity. That's also NIH, but National Institutes of Health. So yeah, one of the benefits working for Virginia Hospital Center is you can apply for National Institutes of Health, Federal Credit Union. So yeah, so yeah, I thought I'll share that with you. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, let's do the top 5. What's happening in America isn't happening everywhere. That's something you should know. And we could see this easily when we do top 5 in the Middle East. Number 1 is Iran, 429,193 cases. Their death rate is 6%. So they have 24,656 deaths. Drop in the bucket. That's like 10% of us. Yeah. Saudi Arabia has 330,798 cases. Second place in Middle East. Their death rate is at 1%. It's higher than Israel, interestingly. 4,542 deaths so far. I would worry if I were Saudi Arabia because, I mean, if they're not careful, they're going to have massive deaths. Yeah, I mean, but it's still very low. I mean, compared to America, compared to South America. But South America used to, like many of the countries used to have less than 1,000 deaths. But now, like South American countries are out of control. Central American countries are out of control. So, because they weren't careful, they should have watched this show and followed what I was saying. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. So, yeah. Number 3 is Iraq. They have 327,580 cases. Death rate is at 3%. 8,682 have died so far. So their death rate is kind of rising too. Israel, the whole country shut down last Friday, beginning of Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year. 193,374 cases. Cases started skyrocketing once their schools opened, which is a shame. Now their schools are shut down, which is smart. Yeah, their death rate is at 0.7%. I mean, it's far better than Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. But, they're afraid that COVID-19 is going to wipe out the Jewish state. It could. Let's be honest here, it could wipe out any country. So Israel is doing the smart thing and shutting the whole country down because there's only 12 million Jews. If this gets out of hand in Israel and everybody lives like sardines in Israel, so there's a high chance a lot of people are going to die, even with the complete shutdown, because everybody lives really close to each other in Israel like sardines. It's a small country, you know. It's the size of what? Smaller than New Jersey, right? Israel. And they have like 6 million people there. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, most people live in apartments. You know how dangerous apartments can get in global pandemic, right? I talked to you about that. So yeah, so Israel is right to shut the whole country down. If I mean, geez, can you imagine if Israel gets wiped out? Half of the world's Jews will be wiped out in Israel. Yeah, because they're like sardines. It's like India. Like you see how India has 1,200 people dying every day because it's pretty crowded in parts of India. So that could happen in crowded countries like Israel. Qatar has 123,917 cases, 0.2% death rate. 211 people have died so far since the beginning. There are Arabic countries with like far lower death than that. Obviously, Qatar is number 5, right? So Jordan is not even in the list. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in the liberal media. When they say we're going to have a vaccine, we're not going to have a vaccine that's going to work. Because as I said, scientists have not identified all the strains of COVID-19. How are you going to have a vaccine when they don't know which strains to fight? It's impossible. Yeah. But I'm marching for your life. That's why I'm running for U.S. Congressman for Virginia's 8th District, in order to save America from itself. Because both Republicans and Democrats are doing wrong. I mean, I told Governor Northam to issue an executive order to require all the colleges in Virginia to go 100% online. There's no reason why you should physically meet in a classroom in a global pandemic, right? So I wanted Governor Northam to do the right thing because he's a medical doctor. He knows what can happen. But no, he did not do the right thing. He did not issue that executive order. Now we have like dozens of deaths every day in Virginia. We're looking at over 100,000 Virginians dying in the flu season because colleges are vectors. Talking about colleges being vectors, today is National Diary Day. So the title that we have is COVID-19 World. What's in your diary? For me, Noor from Jordan is in my diary. Noor, last week, Noor Laswi, it's Laswi. She's from Jordan. So, and I really like Noor. I miss Noor. I got to know her because we were both executive board members in Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative. As you know, I started at Georgetown University in the summer of 2018. And I applied to be an executive board member at Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative because, as you know, I'm a historian. I did Raoul Wallenberg Scholar. I was a Raoul Wallenberg Scholar for Human Rights and Democracy. So I've always had interest in human rights and democracy and international diplomacy and politics. And actually, one of our academic counselors was Raymond Cohen, who's one of the experts on international relations at Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He's a top-notch expert on international relations, particularly as it pertains to the Middle East. He's English. He immigrated to Israel. And he did his PhD, I believe, at King's College London. So he has very strong English connections among English Jews. And other counselor expert was Ehud Sprinzak. He was the leading securities expert. He was Homeland Security. he was like the top, terrorism expert in Israel when I was there. He's professor of political science at Israel. His wife is a big shot TV anchor, kind of like Dan Bayer. I've heard Dan Bayer got married to like a reporter. I guess the current wife was working as like a reporter for Fairfax News or something. But yeah, something like that. But Ehud Sprinzak never ran for elected office. He liked being the securities expert. Um, he's number one terrorism expert in Israel when I was there. And he's an interesting guy. But yeah, so yeah, but Noor is from Jordan, and she was in the executive board as well. She was second year when I was first year, and is first year at Georgetown University. Max Gerlach, the president of Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative, interviewed me, and I was nervous because I really wanted to become an executive board member. And then he said, yeah, I was in, so I became an executive board member. So we would have these like weekly executive board member meetings, or was it monthly? Sometimes weekly, sometimes monthly. And yeah, Noor was there, and Max, and Noor was also an executive board member of Georgetown Student Government, GradGov. And she actually inspired me to run for executive board member position at GradGov. Because I would meet her in the executive board meetings for Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative, and she's also doing like her obligations for GradGov. You know, and so I kind of got interested in that. And then when the elections were held, I decided to run, and I became vice president of graduate student government. And Noor congratulated me. She was very happy that I won. Um, she's a good friend, and the shirt that she has, she was a big fan of Game of Thrones. So she was wearing that shirt. Uh, you know nothing, Jon Snow. I asked her what that meant, and she wouldn't tell me. Yeah, but anyway, she's nice. I really like Noor. Um, and obviously, every time there was a Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative, we took the lead because we're executive board members. So we did, we worked together. We worked really well together. And Max Gerlach, he's working in Arlington now. But he's he's a nice guy. I told him, if I become U.S. Congressman, I'll give him a post, in my congressional office. Oh, hey Max. Oh, hey Noor. You're probably watching from Jordan. Um, yeah. So Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative is a school of foreign service group. Now, when I became president of Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative to succeed Max Gerlach, I was the first ever non-school of foreign service graduate student at Georgetown to become president of a Georgetown School of Foreign Service group. Yeah, so I'm making history left and right. Yeah, I was really sad when Noor graduated. This was 2019 graduation. So I took a photo with her after. All the graduate people they left. Yeah, those seats were all completely packed. I mean, you could see from the photo. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I went to these commencement exercises. I was elected vice president of Georgetown Graduate Student Government, GradGov. So I was just fulfilling these GradGov vice presidential duties. So I wasn't planning on going to the graduation ceremonies, but because I was elected by 9,000 graduate students at Georgetown University, not everybody voted, but so I felt an obligation to attend every graduation ceremony and kind of assist and help with graduate students and their families who were celebrating graduation. So that's why I went to these graduation ceremonies. I went to, like almost every single one. I went to School of Foreign Service, commencement exercises, School of Nursing. It was good because I have a lot of friends there, but, uh, you know, um, business school and yeah, law school, medical school. I attended everything that I could. Sometimes there were conflicting schedules, but just to help with graduate students who are graduating and their families. Because sometimes people get lost. Um, so yeah, I'm really good, at fulfilling my duties, as so this was in the beginning of my term, obviously, because I was elected like in April. My term started in May. And so yeah, so I was very active. I hit the ground running, yeah, helping graduate students and their families. That we have more graduate students than undergraduate students at Georgetown. Yeah, so, but one of the benefits is, I got to celebrate graduation ceremonies of my friends. So Noor was graduated, and so we had some photos that, we're able to take. Yeah, so like in a sense, like I shared 1 year of executive board member like role in Georgetown Collaborative Diplomacy Initiative with her. And then, we have also shared experience being executive board member of Georgetown, like Georgetown's student government, graduate student government. Um, yeah, I was the vice president from May 2019 to May 2020. So, very fruitful administration, vice presidential role. Yes, I'm happy I was able to help 9,000 graduate students at Georgetown. So, now that I'm working at Virginia Hospital Center, I mean, there are a lot of graduate students who settled down here in Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. So I'm sure I'll be treating a lot of, Georgetown University alumni, even many people who benefited from my service as vice president, their vice president. you know uh yeah, so this is like home. This is like, where everybody knows your name, like in Cheers. Everybody knows me. What can I say? I mean, I'm probably the most popular person in this area. I mean, uh yeah. People like me, wherever I go. I mean, I'm a likable guy. I mean, wherever I've been, Israel, Jordan, I've always made a lot of friends. Um, yeah, I mean, like enemies who hate each other love me, both of them. So I'm like loved by everybody. But yeah, anyway. Um, yeah, so yeah, I miss you, Noor. Yeah, we had a lot of fun times together. Yeah, I was telling Noor, like I was going to visit her in Jordan, and I was going to, but COVID-19 hit. I was gonna like, you know, visit. Oh, but what can you do? COVID-19 is here. Hopefully, well, it seems like Noor's is fairly safe in Jordan, but yeah, yeah, I worry about my friends, like in India where there's a lot of deaths. I have cousins, millionaire cousins in Brazil. I worry about them. And hopefully, they don't die. Yeah. So, yeah, because part of my family relatives moved to Brazil like 50 years ago. Yeah, so they have that. Yeah, I have like whole clan over there in Brazil. They're all like millionaires. Um, yeah, but anyway, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were able to join me for this show. And yeah, stay safe. Make sure you wear a mask. And you know, yeah, social distance whenever you can. Yeah, just be careful. Make sure you get your flu shot. You gotta be careful if you want to survive, and make sure watch this show every day. Give you insights and directions that you can used to survive COVID-19. So yeah, don't forget to vote for me on November 3rd, 2020. Right? Let's get this country in the right direction. I want to do a cheer for my cohort members because they're 25 of us graduated on August 24, 2020. I took my NCLEX RN exam on August 31. I think I broke the record, for for that, Yeah. Yeah, so yeah. But yeah. So I want to do a cheer um, for my core members. And so yeah. So I want to do a CNL 2020. But computer's not cooperating with me. So yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. So I want to do a cheer, and I take my hat off to you, and I want to say CNL 2020 CNL. Yay! We did it. 25 of us did it. Yay! Yeah. So yeah, we have to have a reunion sometime. When COVID-19 allows us to do that. So yeah, anyway, yeah, I think about you guys. I love you guys. So yeah, I hope everybody's well. Yeah, and yeah, tune in tomorrow as well, everyone. I hope that you'll be well and that your family will be well too. Bye.